Welcome, guys. Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying your Wednesday night. You could be doing anything on Wednesday night, man. Thank you so much for coming to the Art of Attraction, the strategies for truly generating a steady stream of patients, right? I'm Dr. Bobby Grassi, man. I'm so welcome that you're here. And here's some things. Why are you here? Like, why are you here? Why did you go live on LinkedIn and Facebook? And why are we popping in here? Like, why do we join this call? Like, why is it that you're here? That's the question you got to answer yourself. Quick, good draw. I've been exactly where hopefully you're here to get new patients, steady stream, try to figure the solution out of how do you really generate more revenue, if you will. But I've been where you are. I've been questioning the things that I need to do every single day in my practice. How do you get the new patients? What do you do? What is the law of attraction? How does that apply to where you're at? What problem are you trying to solve? Who is your ideal patients to solve the problem for? How are you going to communicate this with the team? Can your front desk handle all the communication, or can they handle all the calls and bookings? Are they trained for that? Is your office environment welcoming? How is your team transferring trust to you? How are you retaining patients? How are your patients referring or providing reviews? And then at the end of it, we're going to summarize the key points and the next event of how to really get the patient to say yes, which at the end of the day, it all ties in, right? The agenda, that's the agenda, right? Just figure out why you're here to get new patients in the door. But really, at the end of the day, how do you convert this? And then we're going to open it up for question and answers. But look, at any time during this call, anytime at all, you have a question that pops up, I'm going to feed off you, right? I see some people live on the call right now. I will feed off you. This is tailored to serve you, not me. Here's some bullet points that I think the agenda should be. But hey, at the end of the day, if you got a question, put it in the DM, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll be free to answer it, and I'll stop on a dime. So why are you here? What do you truly want this call to do for you today? Like, this is what you got to ask yourself this question. Like, why did I pick this call? Right? Some of you might be struggling. Some of you might not know the answer to really how to truly grow your revenue, how to really increase your patient flow. What are the strategies that you could do to implement every single day to attract the patients you want to attract? And then who you want patients to refer people over and over and over. So I'm hoping that's why you're here. See, because I've been right where you're at. I know exactly what it is. Just a little bit about me. I'm Dr. Bobby Grassi, born and raised in Flint, Michigan. I bring this up because I want you to know that nothing was handed easy for me. My mom was a single mom, raising 3 kids on $18,000 a year. Single mom, Flint, Michigan. I had a dream one day that I was riding a big wheel and I was meant to be something different. I can remember that voice in my head. And just like some of you guys, most of you on this call are doctors. You've exceeded a level of education that's second to none. I've been right where you're at because I've struggled getting new patients. I had to practice only doing $170,000 where I convert to over $4 million annually a year. I graduated from Detroit Dental School in 2003. I've been doing dentistry for over 2 decades. I graduated with the highest honors in progressive orthodontic training. Plus, I had 11 years of training with Dr. Todd Engel Institute. Like, a great guy. The only plug I'll give you, amazing implant guy. Learned a lot of stuff from him. But I have a beautiful wife, Sabrina, and 3 beautiful kids, and that's my why. And also my why is I want to serve people. I want to teach every single person the strategies and tips and tricks that I've done to win this part of my life, win dentistry, if you will. I always say RISE. I use it as an acronym. I'm relentless in serving entrepreneurs. Like, that's what I mean. And hopefully I hope you rise up and you unleash the power within. But let's dive into this, because that's why you're here. What are the nuggets, right? What is the law of attraction? You're like, bro, why are you bringing up the law of attraction when it applies to dentistry? Because it all matters. It all matters. Wherever your energy flows, the energy goes, right? And then what you think of is what you attract. And a lot of us right now, especially in these uncertain times, sometimes myself included, I'm guilty as charged, have this uncertainty in our brain. And we have a scarcity mindset at times. And guess what comes in? That's why it's so important of how you think, and your mindset is the key to everything. Like, who is it that you want to attract? What are the patients you want to attract? Do you feel they're even out there? Like, if you feel like if there's a scarcity, if there's a lack, and there's not an abundance, you're going to have a hard time bringing people in, right? And so it applies to your dental practice, not only in your mindset, but in how you think. And how you think is going to impact your staff, and how your staff thinks is going to impact your patients. You don't believe me? It's really simple. We have patients, employees of mine all the time that think, hey, man, this department is down. What comes in? More down. If you go, I don't want this patient to come in my office, you just attracted that patient you didn't want to come in your office. So when you think of what you want and what you want to attract, it's very important of how positive you are, your mindset is, and what is the ideal patient you want to attract. Because I promise you, if you can answer that question, you'll attract them. Another thing you got to do, what are the key problems that you solve? So you know the patient you might want to attract, but what are the key problems you solve address? For me, it might be totally different than you. Early on in my career, the problem I wanted to solve was just my grandfather died of throat cancer. So I thought my whole mission in dentistry was just to be a wellness doctor. Like I took the doctorate very seriously. I got trained and mentored by an oral surgeon. And it's so funny because the old thing is like, you know, if you wanted to be a doctor, you went to medical school, but if you wanted just to be a dentist, you were a dentist. But what we got to embrace is we are part of the greatest part of the wellness shield of anything, right? Like we are the first line of defense in everybody's health and wellness. And so when I started out in my career, I was so focusing on cancer because my grandfather died of throat cancer that I thought my whole mission, all my targeting was how to never die from throat cancer. Like I was doing all kinds of crazy things. And hey, did you know that I could be the first line in throat cancer in your defense because we do head and neck exams? But before we go on this call to really, I want you to, and I go into a mindset a little bit, and I kind of just triggered this point. This isn't even part of my slides. I want you to hear this, and I touched on it. You are in a day and age where people don't even trust medicine. You are in a day and age right now where they don't know, do you get a vaccine? Don't you get a vaccine? Do you take this pill or don't you take this pill? The beautiful part of the craft you have and the power you have is we can naturally heal people through dentistry. So what do you think your marketing campaign should be? I just gave you a nugget, right? Like, how could you solve that problem? Hey, are you scared of this? I don't want to give you the details, but what problems do you solve and what do you address? What is your practice about? Do you understand the pain points of a potential patient? So like for me, I love ortho and I love implants. I love higher end dentistry. Now I've been doing it over 21 years. It's my passion. So I might market totally differently today than I did another day, but it's all based on buckets and everything has a container. I'm not going to tell you what to do with what, but what identify the key issues of your dental practice. What are the problems that the patient has that you can solve, and understanding the patient pain points, how do you solve it, and then tailor your services to meet their needs. We can go in so much detail on this, and I don't want to waste everybody's 30 minutes of their day or 20 minutes of their day trying to figure out the solutions, but I'm telling you, that's the first problem. Is ask yourself, what problem do you want to solve that touches the patient pain points? Because if you can touch a patient's pain points and you come up with that solution, now you're getting somewhere, right? Now you're getting somewhere. So who is your ideal patient? We already talked about it. So if you know your ideal patient, you define your target audience. Who is it and what pain point do they have? Right? Creating that persona for effective marketing is huge. Like understanding exactly who your avatar is in what you align with, that's going to attract the patients to align with your practice. You heard me right. Align with your practice. See, don't have the scarcity mindset we talked about. We are so worried, or most dentists, even myself, when I had a practice that wasn't growing. I was so worried about just getting any patient in that I realized half the patients that were coming in I was not retaining and they weren't the right fit for me. So I had a scarcity mindset when it came to my marketing, and I was getting scatter results. The minute I changed to an abundance mindset and I started accepting patients that align with what I wanted to do, then that's where the magic happens. That's where the magic happens. So define your target audience, who it is, what you want. It's different for every practice. I'm not going to sit here and say, you must do soccer moms or you must do only divorced dads. Like, I'm not going to tell you what the friggin' secret is, right? Because it's your target audience or young kids. It's based on your philosophy, your values, and your core principles. But identify your target audience. What is the persona? What's their persona? What's their personality? What are they looking for? What are their problems? What is their pain points? And then how does it align with your practice, right? How are you going to go once you know that? Once you know who the pain points are, the problems, the possibilities, and all that stuff. How do you communicate? Like, where are they living? Right? I see what is your target audience? Where are they found? If you're relating to a soccer mom, if you will, they're probably more than likely in their ages of 30 or 40. They probably have younger kids. I don't know, maybe if they're like me, they might have been 35 because they had kids at 27, 28, right? Mid 30s and 40s. I'm not a mom, but you get what I'm saying. My wife was, right? Same age as me. So they're living in AYSO fields. They're probably going to crumble cookies, if you will. They're probably on Facebook. They're on all these social platforms, and you got to find them. They might even be on TikTok because, let's be honest, most mothers want to know what their kids are doing, and they're on the same platform. So you would know where's your target's audience located? Like, where are they located? Where do they live? Like, if I'm talking to my 13-year-old daughter, I guess, or my 15-year-old daughter, my God, I just aged her. I de-aged her, my bad. She's actually 15. So if I'm talking to my 15-year-old daughter and I'm marketing towards kids, right, you're going to be on TikTok. You're going to be on Snapchats. You're going to be on those medias. But once you understand that, then you're going to create an emotional attachment about their pain points. Your marketing will be about that. Like if you're a soccer mom who has yellow teeth, your marketing can be like, hey, dude, you sick of having dingy yellow teeth? I mean, are you sick of actually looking in the mirror and trying to kiss your husband with stinky breath? Hey, I got your answer. Like that's what we mean about creating a marketing strategy towards your customer. Or, hey, soccer mom, are you having a hard time finding a place for your kids to have one place? Did you know we treat all kids or all adults in one-stop place? I mean, that's a marketing strategy towards that. You're creating an emotional attachment or pain point. And then once you do that, you establish your pain point or you establish your emotional connection, you're going to let them know that, hey, you're the place to go. So like if I was going to give you a little framework, if you will, like who is your avatar, right? Where are they living? What's your target audience? What is their emotional needs or what is their pain points? And are you the one to solve the problem? So you're going to give you're going to address their problem. You're going to give them the possibility and the path to get there. Like that's what you're going to do. There's your framework when you come up with marketing campaigns. And then the most important thing, I should stop on this because we get the phone ring, we do all of our marketing strategies, we have all this marketing put in place. There's a whole mythology I have in this, but I'm talking about this right now. I would always say make sure your internal walls are really fixed before you go externally. But I know what you're wanting. You're like, how do you generate more revenue without having everything internally fixed? Like I'm going to promise you, once you get to a point where you got phones ringing off the hook, and you figure out the problem you can solve, you better hope your front desk has that skill. Like that is a skill that it is second to none. When I didn't train my staff, right, and I have scripts, and I'm not going to go in the scripts of what I do. I'm not going to go in the details. If you're really curious about that, please DM me and go ahead and reach out to me. I'll be more than willing to show you how to do it or do one-on-one with you. But the front desk is the key because remember, you're putting marketing dollars out there. And the misconception of marketing is that they're supposed to bring the patients in here. No. They're supposed to make the phone ring. They're supposed to make the email click, right? It's up to you guys to follow through and pick it up and convert the sale. So there's a whole system and process there, but make sure they know how to talk in the front desk. Make sure they're trained and equipped for success. And if you have not trained your staff, you're going to fail. I had at one point when I put over $150,000 of training my team in just a year and a half. Yes, you heard that right. $150,000 to train my team. And that's what got me. You ready? It wasn't my marketing was any different. Had nothing to do with it. I was actually spending less marketing after that than I did prior. It was that the team was able to handle the phone calls and convert them to getting them in the books, period. Like that's it, right? So you're going to get the phone ring 100 times. You might only close 10 to 20 of those cases. You don't believe me? You should record all your phone calls because it happened to me. Phone was ringing 100 to 200 times. You have to realize everything I'm telling you is something I lived through. Like it was my pain point. Everything I'm telling you I had a solution to is what I've already lived through. Like I had people, literally your front desk, you have a false sense of reality that your front desk really cares if patients come in. They don't, because guess what? You're paying them hourly and the least amount of job they got to do, the better. But you want to make sure that they follow a system and a strategy. So therefore, if you're dropping $10,000 a month, you better be converting to almost a 10x multiple of that money. Now, I know what a marketing company is going to tell you. They all tell you. But let's be real. We're in the profit business, right? You told me, how do I increase my revenue? You increase your revenue and profit by lowering your overhead and your cost, right? That's what you do. So if I can market and I'm spending $10,000, but I'm converting to 100,000 or 90,000 or 80,000, or even let's just say 50,000, great marketing strategy, right? Great marketing strategy because you're getting a good return. Now, a marketing company is going to say, hey, just as long as you get a 2X, that's garbage in dentistry. You know, and I know to get $20,000 extra revenue in my income, I don't even need to market at all. That's a whole nother topic. And I see Ken's in there laughing. That's a whole nother topic. We'll dive into that a different day. But understand the power of your front desk, right? Understand that they got to be trained properly. Your office environment. When they walk in, this is a part of retention now. You got your avatar, you figured out the problem, you figured out the solution that you can solve. The phones ring, we're going to assume that, bang, they made the appointment, right? If you notice, I'm giving you some frameworks here. They made the appointment. How warm and inviting is your atmosphere? When was the last time you were a patient in your own practice? No, literally, walked through the front door, looked at the lobby, saw the paint chips that are on the floor, saw the paper and the napkins that are on the floor that you didn't realize. What does it smell like? What does it look like? What does your office look like to the patient's lens, not your lens? Because we go in places all the time and we just get used to it. You don't believe me? Drive down the same highway every single day for 10 years. You don't even see the billboards anymore. But you go somewhere new, you see every billboard across that you're seeing. You see every stoplight. You see every tree. For God's sakes, you probably could tell when the leaves are turning. You do something every single day. You just do stuff on autopilot. You stop seeing it. Well, that's what happens in your practice. So is your practice warm? Is it inviting? Is the staff energetic? Remember, we talked about law of attraction before. Energy attracts energy. Like attracts like. Positive attracts positive. Piece of crap's mentality give you piece of crap's patience. Remember that. If your mindset's cloudy and you're uncertain, so is your patient. So as certain as you are, as warm as you feel in your practice, understand they won't feel as warm. So if you feel a 10, they're going to feel an 8. If you feel a 20, they're going to feel a 10. You got to wow them. In this day and age, when you have the ability to meet them really fast, and now what they do is they're chasing a dollar, especially now. If my insurance covers it, I will do this. If they do that, I will do this, right? Once you get the patient, you better wow them because they better find value in what you do. So that physical space, the patient's perception is everything, and making the patients feel at home. Remember, this is the most stressful thing in the world. People don't want to go to the dentist. They don't want to get a shot, but how do you make them feel comfortable? Like, what do you have? We could talk about comfort menus. We can talk about all kinds of things, but really that's what you got to address. Like when you look in there, how do you feel? Because if you feel bad, they're going to feel worse. I promise you. Right? But be objective, be honest. And then once they're in there, how do you transfer it? How do you build trust with patients? That's the next thing. They're in your practice. I tend to go through hygiene first. That's just my thing. But let's say they come in. What is your strategies for building trust? How do you transfer it for your team? How does the team and you interact that ensures consistency? Because marketing's number one thing. Why marketing fails, and even myself, I'm speaking from experience. It doesn't matter what business I own. I own 4 different businesses. This is what I realized. If I'm not consistent, they're not coming in. If I'm not consistent with my marketing strategies and I'm all over the place, I'm going to get inconsistent results. So you're be more apt to be consistent with every interaction you have with the patients than not. You can be cool, you can play with it, but you want to have your team to be so in line with you. And it goes back to the training that they can transfer of trust every single time. Like what you say, they say. Like the transfer of authority and trust is huge. It'll ensure consistent patient interactions because the patient's looking for a place that's safe, that everybody's in line, and that they're comfortable in. Well, they're only comfortable if it's consistent. And then empowering your team is huge to lead that trust and be the ambassadors of your practice. Because most of the time, they don't even care what you say. They don't really trust you. I know it's hard because most of the time, you don't even spend 4 minutes to get to know them. You don't even spend 5 minutes. They think we're the richest people in the world, and they think that we're out to make a buck. You know, truth be told, we are out to make money. We are. It's okay to make money, but we want to do it in a trustful way, but they trust your team more than you. So if you can empower your team, it's going to help you give those patients trust and keep them coming back in droves. How do you retain your patients? It all goes back to literally, they trust you. How do you retain them? What are you doing? What systems do you have in place? Do you have any warranties put in place? What strategies do you implement to keep coming them back? Do you even have a strategy? You know, are you going to turn a one-time patient to a lifelong patient? The only way you do this is by the wow experience. The only way you do this is having systems and processes that are so tight that it's consistent across the board. This is the moment right here where I see that people fail in their marketing. And it goes back to the ideal patient. And it goes back to, remember what I said, I don't allow every single patient to come in my practice. I don't. It's a screening thing. When my patients, I talked about my staff being ambassadors of trust and the transferring of ownership. I'm going to go back to that slide. I'm not going to click back, but understand what I mean. They are interviewing the patient for me, right? The phone did it, check one. They're now interviewing the patient for me, and now I'm seeing all their answers to the questions. I listen to how the patient speaks to me. Literally listens. Do they align with my core values and principles? Like, do they align with what I want? If they're just chasing value, I'm not your guy. Like, I know you're going to say, dude, how could you say that? Because I believe value is something where if I'm doing right by you and you really want something bad enough, the cost of my goods means nothing. And I can prove it to you. Because if I took this bottle of water right here, which is a Fiji water, and I buy it at the gas station, it's $2. If I buy the same Fiji water and I buy it on a Delta Air flight, it's $10. And if I buy it at a Ritz-Carlton, it could be $20. And if you ever stay at the Ritz, it's $20. Now, what's the difference? Oh, that's right. It's still water. It's the perceived value of that water. It's the Ritz-Carlton says it's $20. I'm paying $20 because you know what? It's the value of the water. That's what it must mean to me. So I don't believe in your cost should be something that the patient dictates. It's what you believe your value is for your service, period, end of story. Quit compromising the value of your service. I just told you, bar none, you have the best power in your hands right now. I know this isn't part of my speech. In this world of uncertainty in medicine, you have the power. You can educate and train your patients to a level that nobody else can. And they're going to trust you because you're not jabbing them with anything and you're not giving them a poke. Well, maybe a needle to numb them up. Bad jab might be a bad thing. But my point is you're doing everything holistically. Like we physically have to remove bacteria out of somebody's mouth in order for it to heal. Like, dude, that's amazing. Like, have you ever stopped and said, holy crap, I'll keep it clean in case there's kids in the room. Like, holy crap, we are one of the greatest professions you could ever be in right now. AI is not replacing us, even though there's AI software you can get. You know, the people cannot do what we do. And I just wanted to stop there to let you know how special you are listening to this and how much value you actually can add and how much power you have, especially with the right training and tools to really 10x your practice. Not that I follow Grant Cardone, I do, but I love the 10x thing. Like 10x is one of the coolest taglines ever. So that's Grant Cardone. I better give him his praise because I think it's copyrighted. But 10x Grant Cardone. There you go. You heard me say that. Okay. Turning out. So when you wow these patients, when you give them the experience they want, when you communicate them, when you solve their problems, they're going to be patients for life, dude. I have patients that have followed me from Canada. I'm in Michigan. I know you're going to say not all Canada's far. I'm talking about 4-hour drives, not from just like, you know, Hamilton or whatever. I'm talking about like not just Ontario. I'm talking like legit, like from Canada, like Calgary and stuff, dude, like crazy drives. I got people coming from there. I got people driving from the UP just to get treatment done by me that are 8-hour drives. So it's when you wow these people and you give them the service, you will dominate and they will come back to you. Sorry about that. And are your patients referring to you? Here it goes back to the same thing. If you wow the patient, if you solve their problems, if you know your avatar, if you connect with them, if you follow through with them, they're going to, and you give them the warm experience and you give them the welcome and they feel like this is their home. Because remember, you made them feel so comfortable, like this is their home. And you made us feel so well that they're just going to refer people over and over again. And here's the power. That one time moment you were spending $10,000 to market a month, 20,000, 5,000, 3,000, whatever your marketing budget is, you will cut that in a third by 2/3. When I first started marketing, I was doing $10,000 a month. And I was only getting 40 to 50 new patients a month. And you're like, that's a lot. Not when I tell you where I went. I was getting 40 to 50 new patients a month, every single month. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is great. My return on investment for every single patient was $3,500 for every new patient that came in. So it generated me, those 40 new patients, generated me $125,000 worth of revenue. Now, you might not know these numbers like I do because that's a whole nother thing. I'm kind of a nerd and I study numbers, but you got to know as you're marketing wise. So you're like, dude, you just got to almost 11x return on your money. I know. But then I thought to myself, my patients internally are my golden goose. What if I spent more money internally than I did externally? And what if I got those patients to refer? Because remember, those are already the ideal patients that I have that I want in my practice. So like attracts like, law of attraction, full 360 degrees, what I just did from almost the third slide that you saw, how it all works in dentistry. So if like attracts likes and I already have what I want and there's a positive patient over here, ask them. Ask them. Patients want to be a part of something so big. Ask them for the referral. How many people actually ask them for the referral? Probably not many. We get so caught up in the day-to-day things that is your power, right? And then make them feel like they're part of a loving community. I said that on the slide already. That's what's grew my practice. Hey, external marketing is great. It's going to get the phone ring. You're going to get those cold calls. What about those warm calls? What about the warm clients that are in your practice? Think about that. You need a strategy of that? Let me know. Share a smile. I love that little slide. Hey, just share a smile. Hey, little, here's how you do it too. If my patient was here, I don't want to give you all my secrets. Here's what you do. Hey, Mrs. Smith, how you doing today? Oh my God, awesome. It was so great having you in this office. How was your experience when you're here? I know you have a dentist asking the patient, ready? How was your experience? Because you guys are so lazy because you think we're so important and we have such an ego that we can't talk to our patient. I get it, dude. I was one of you. I remember that you can't follow up with your patient like, Mrs. Smith, how was your experience? I'm just curious. Like, how was it? Oh my God, it was amazing. Oh, great, Mrs. Smith. We had so much time seeing you too. Would you refer a friend of mine? Or do you know anybody that might need our services? Here you go. Like, that's simple. That's simple, guys. It'll give you 5 to 1 of patients on that way. I promise you. You get 5 to patients on one call that you're picking up on the phone. So, summary it up. Identify your problem. What is the problem you want to solve, or what is the problem you want to market to? And make sure you can solve it, right? Make sure you have that solution. Speak to their pain points. We always give people solutions, but we never speak to the pain points. And that's where marketing can fail. Know your avatar's pain points. Know yours. Know what it is, even if you're a patient in a practice. Reverse it. And when you know that, you give them the solution. If you're that place, like literally, you're the place. You're the place that they have to come to solve the problem. You're going to get it. You're going to get some patients. And then you make sure the team is trained. But look at guys, next event, we're going to really, this is the whole point is, okay, you're getting new patients. That's great. But how do you really convert them? How are you going to take a patient that's on Medicaid, do $50,000 cases? I do it every day. Like I do that every day. People that you do not think can find money, I do it every day. And there's a secret and there's a methodology and there's a science to it. How to truly convert top treatment plans. I don't do unnecessary stuff. I give them what they want and what they value. And then I just ask for the sale. But that's going to be a whole thing next time. It's going to be January 17th at 7 p.m., guys, exploring advanced techniques to truly high-value treatment plans. So, dude, you need to mark your calendars for sure. At the same time, you can reach out to thedentistco.com/events and converting. It's on the slide. We will email you all this information. You can DM us. You can do whatever you need to get a part of this, but this is the part that you want to increase your revenue. Getting new patients is one thing. Converting them is another. That's a whole nother ballgame, right? So, guys, you have a chance to ask some questions, engage in some conversations, whatever you want. I'm more than willing to take. You got any questions out there? Fire away. I can't. You can't unmute him. I'd unmute Ken.
Hey. Hi, Dr. Cressy. Can you give me an example of how you would actually like treat a patient that is not so certain that they want to work with you? How do you handle people that come in that don't know whether or not you're the right dentist for them?
So are they already in the door? Like they're already in my chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's really simple, just trying to figure out. I ask them a bunch of questions. I mean, this is kind of also a little bit kind of part of the next call that we're talking about, but I ask them a bunch of questions, really, like, if you were in my chair, let's say you're the patient. Hey, Ken, I can see you're a little bit uncertain, but do me a favor. You decided to come here for a reason. What was the reason you came here? Right? And I would literally just get them to open up. Like sometimes we just don't ask enough questions. And so I get them to open up, and then pretty soon, once I figure out their pain point or whatever it is, I talk on that pain point, Ken. And so I'll be going back and forth, and we'll be, I might say, I know you're muted right now, so we can't examine, but hey, you know, are you bottom line or detailed? I'll just give you a little hint like there. So I'll just give them the skinny of it. So I kind of talk to their personality. It goes back to the persona. But sometimes, Ken, to really answer that question, I convert them to whatever they want, because I'll hit their pain points and I'll get them to do that. And I understand what they value, and I'll speak on their outcome. See, a lot of times we don't speak of where they're going to go. We just say, okay, here's your problem. You almost got to talk them through a story of here's where you're at today, but here's where you're going to go. Right? No different if you're coaching in anything. Like if you want to buy a house, okay, here's what the mortgage is, but if you buy this house, here's what it's going to give to your family. Like it's one of those things. Like you got to give them the outcome, because people know they have a pain, but they just don't know how to get to the outcome. And that's where we kind of get them to open up to me. I know their pain point. Here's your outcome I can deliver. And then if they're still uncertain and they're really not feeling I'm a good fit, to be honest with you, kind of like, maybe we're just not a good fit. Have a good day. Like, it's okay. Like, I don't try to convince people my worth. I know that sounds really cocky. I try to really help serve them. But at the end of the day, I don't want to have a lot of stress in my life either. And so if they're just on the fence, you know, sometimes I'll say, you know what, Mrs. Smith, it seems like you're on the fence. I'll call them out and say it. Like, just so you know, I'm here to serve you. So when you decide, let me know. Or if you don't feel that we're the right fit, cool. Like, we can part ways now. Like, it's no big deal. But most of the time, like, oh, no, you're really the right fit. No. And they feel really bad. A lot of it is just their own anxiety coming through, right? They have a lot of anxiety because it's hard for them. Maybe they just changed dental offices. Maybe they not sure if they can afford it because we haven't even discussed pricing yet. Or maybe they're just really scared of learning the truth of their mouth. So there's a lot of reasons why, but just try to talk to their pain points and really get them to open up, to really show them that you're just part of their team. That'd be what I'll tell you. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, seeing no questions. Look, guys, what I'm really looking to do is I'm here to, I told you, rise up, right? Relentless in showing entrepreneurs how to unleash their power. That's my ultimate goal. Like, if you told me what is what I want in this life, I want to make the greatest impact. If you're a young dentist on this call, even if you're a dentist in their 40s or 50s, I'm 50 years old. It's never too late to reinvent what you're doing. And you're on this call for a reason. And if you had the answers to the questions or your problem, you wouldn't be on this call right now. And I believe all of us need coaches. We all need mentors, and we all need to learn. God knows I have 3 of them. I have a business coach. I have a sales coach. I have a trainer for fitness. I got it all, dude. Like, I believe, and I just told you, I'm the guy that spent $150,000 on his team getting them trained outside of me. But what I really want to do is I want to see you all win. I want to see you cut 10 years off. When I told you I grew a practice from 170 over 4 million, in the first 15 years, I did terrible. It was the last 5 that I found the magic button. So if I could speed you up to let you net $1 million, literally net $1 million in a 1 to 2 year time frame, maybe I'm worth the phone call. I would love to set up a consultation with you. I would love to show you how you can implement things right now. Like, I've taken dentists, literally, I've trained them for 3 months and increased their revenue by $250,000. This is the only sales pitch you're going to see from me. Can you book a free 10-minute consultation that might change your life? If the answer is yes, connect with me at thedentistco.com, #book now. And just for joining, just for going, guys, hopefully you get my free ebooks. You might get some free gifts from me, but I appreciate all your time, because you could be doing anything right now. And at the end of the day, I'm here to serve you. If there's no more questions, may God bless you all. Have a great Wednesday. We'll talk soon.